Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit and this is the continuation series of the integration. So this is the second day in the integration series. In this series, we'll talk about today's class. We'll talk about basically inbound integration. And in this inbound integration, we'll basically talk about that table API integration. So what is table level API? What is the inbound integration? These things we'll today talk. In the first session, we'll talk about what is the integration and how many way we can do the integration. But today, basically, we'll talk about the one of the inbound integration called table API. Before that, we'll discuss about that SOAP and REST. So if I see this my website and if I go my to that, if I go my documentations. So far we have discussed till this point, and now today we'll talk about first the integration that is called table API web service integration. This topic we'll discuss. In this inbound integrations, these are the method, these are the way we can actually do inbound integration. But today we'll basically focus on the table API web services. Before that, we have to be discussed that SOAP versus REST. What is SOAP message? What is the REST message? Because it is also very important that to understand that what is SOAP and what is REST, because based on this SOAP and REST message, I mean these are the technology using that the start or that any of this platform do integrated. So whenever you are doing integration, you have to have a versatile knowledge that how other platform also works basically. So SOAP and REST both are the technology that we will discuss. So without wasting time, let's get started. When come to that integration, the people come to me and say that which is the best, SOAP or REST, which is the best. This is nothing called that best, okay? SOAP and REST both the different technology used for the different purpose, okay? But if you talk about that nowadays, 80% integration happens through the REST. SOAP are used in very minimal spaces because the SOAP built very long ago and it's a very complex and it's a heavy-weighted platform which needs more memory, more configuration. But in other hand, the REST is a simple light-weighted application that doesn't need that much that doesn't have that much complexity. So in these two way, if I compare that nowadays 80% scenario, 80% scenario the REST is getting used and SOAP is using the REST 20%. Okay. Now come to the question that where we use the SOAP and where we use the REST. So definitely the application that you are going to integrate it, let's say you are integrating then some other application. So whenever you are integrating some other application, you have to be understand that what method they have supported. If they are supporting SOAP and REST both, then you can go for the REST because REST is a simple one. But if they don't support the REST, then you have to go for the SOAP. So basically, whenever you are building something or whenever you are discussing something, it's a two-way handshaking. You should check with the other member or other platform owner that where you are going to integrate that how they are handling. Is they are using SOAP or is they are using REST? If they are using both, then you can go for that SOAP or REST, anything. But maybe you can go for the REST. Okay. Now coming to point to that. So SOAP is a simple object access protocol. It's a protocol, and then REST is the you can see that representational state transform. It's a very lightweighted basically. So you can go through these details or documentation from my website. But in a case that why we need the SOAP, because basically nowadays SOAP have a lot of security features that which doesn't have that REST message. So if you are doing some if your application is have the very sensitive data, it's required very security, then you should go for the SOAP. Although it's a heavy-weighted application, but you should go for the SOAP. But if it is a not that much sensitive, yes, REST have a security, but it's a lightweight security. So if your application is not that much sensitive, you can go for the REST message because REST is a very lightweighted and very simple. Now, if you want to go through this, complete. One by one, line by line details I have already pasted here. You can go through that. Okay. So that's all about what is the SOAP and what is the REST. Now, today our main focus is all about the table API the table API access. Okay, so what is the table API? So basically, using the table API, you can simply get any data from the ServiceNow. So let's say this is my ServiceNow, and in this ServiceNow, if I want to access any of this data from the other application, let's say that other application is Jira, they are trying to access your incident, they are trying to access your story, or they are trying to do something, using the table API, you can do that. Okay, so let's discuss one by one. So to introduce that table API or the table level API or inbound table level API, I will give you a simple question or scenario. From there you can understand. The first question is, maybe someone asks you that I want to get all this active incident that is created by me. So give me that incident. Okay, how can you give that? Okay, for that, basically, if somebody asks this type of question, I need to get all this incident which is active and assigned to me, I want to get that. You just need to be, as a developer, you just need to be think that which kind of API you should use, because as I mentioned that we have a basically five type of five, six type of inbound integration. We can do this type of any of these integration, 6, 7 type of integration. Using that, we can give them that whatever data they are expecting. Okay, so let's say that if they are asking for incident or anything, you can give them the table API. One of the options is the table API. If it is very simple and if it is not very much complex, okay, you can use the table API web service. Okay, table API web service. I'll show you that based on this your requirement. So what's the requirement? I'll just note it down in this requirement that this is my requirement that I have received. Now in this in respect of this requirement, what answer or what response I should give you that? No, I should ask them that are they supported that REST API? Can I use the table API? Because that if I give them the table API, if you see that in the table API, there is a very important point you should remember. The table API doesn't have any validation to mandatory or other validation. So table API cannot do any validation. Okay, so table API cannot do any kind of validation. It's a much kind of you just ask some question, it just give you the response, or you ask them to create something and it will create something. Okay, it will not check anything that it is going where or some. It is not do any kind of validation. So in the incident form, you see that there will be short description is a mandatory, but in this table API we can just create an incident without putting the short description. So it's not doing any validation. So whenever you are using the table API, make sure to whom you are giving, they are completely responsible for any kind of issue they are getting created to in your instance. So if they are creating any garbage to in your instance, they should be responsible for that. Okay, if they are responsible for everything or every mess they are creating, then you can give them that table API. So let's say the first requirement is saying that give me all active incident created by me. So this is the requirement they are asking. So for that, if I go here, the first in this table API we have this is the 4-5 method. First method is a retrieve record a table, retrieve records from a table. So in this method we can retrieve multiple records from a particular table. So let's say from the incident table, if I want to get all this incident that is active or that is created by me and active, I can use this API, and using this API I can get the data. Okay, for that what I have to do, so you can see this is the example URL that I have to provide them, or that I have to give it to them so that they can access my instance. Okay, for very first thing is that in your ServiceNow instance you have to create a account for them. Okay, so that using that service account they are going to interact that. So I am going to first create a service account. I'll go to the sys user table, and in the sys user I am going to create a user called so I'll put the user ID called integration admin, something like that, and then first name I'll put that integration, last name admin, And here, if you see, I'll check that web service access only, and then here I have to set the password. So I'll just create this user and save that. So this user is getting created. Now I have to put the role. So as part of the role, I'll click edit. And very first thing is that I'll give that, very first thing I'll give them that web service admin role. So I'll just add that web service admin role and save that. Now, let's say for incident table access, what role I need. Basically, for incident table access, I need the role called admin role or ITL role. So I'll click edit here and give them that ITL role. So let's say I'll add that ITL role. Okay. So once I give them ITL role, this user actually should have access to the incident table, and they can see that they can read, or maybe they can create some of the incident, right? Now what I'll do, I will open that sys user one more time and set the password for them. So let's add this password column here. And I'll set the password. My password is set. Now next step is that I have to give them these details, okay? But I can test that. I can test that whatever details I am giving them, it is actually right or not. So let's go back to my Postman. So as I mentioned that during our first session that we are going to use couple of tools to testing that. So I'll click plus sign here. In this plus sign, I will put, I will test that the whatever details I am giving them, or whatever details I am giving the third party is the correct. For that, what I'll do, I'll go to the authorization first, and then in the authorization, these are the authorization type we can use. So very first thing, I'll select the basic auth, and here I'll put that my username that I have selected and the password that I've set. Now, so this is my username and password. Now here in this URL, I have to do, or I have to put some URL to get some active incident. So let's go back to that my document here. So this is my active incident URL. So I'll copy that, and here I'll paste that. I'll explain that what does it mean by what. So here I need to check that, or I need to put my instance name. So I'll remove that and put my instance name. So this is my instance ID. I'll paste here, and here you can see very first thing is that this is the table name from where I should, or from where I am trying to get that data. So my first question is that you can see give me all incident, okay, all active incident created by me. I'll put later part, but give me all give me all active incident. So this is my first requirement. Now what I'll do in this, as I mentioned that give me all active incident. So how do I get this active incident? So I can paste that Sysparam query equal to active equal to true, or if I go to the parameter, you can see this is the filter condition I have to be paste that. So to get the active incident, what I used to do, I'll go to this incident.list, okay, and say, let's say I want to get this active incident equal to 2. So I will click here, filter, and then say active true. And simply run that. So this will return me the active incident true. Right now 40 incident is there. If I copy query, so right click and copy query and go back here, and then in this Sysparam query I can paste this filter. Now if I run that, it will give me that actual active incident from this instance, from this table. So let's send that. So you can see I have received this active incident right now, and these are the active incident right now I have received. So in case, let's say you want to modify this query, or you want to change something. So let's say you want to query to the change table. Okay, so let's first put this to our answer. Okay, so I'll put that to answer. This is the question. Now next say that give me all change request. Okay, in this case what how I can get this change request. So let's say how we can get this change request. For that what we have to do, we have to change this table name to this change. So I'll just change this to the change. So this is the change request table, and here in this query I should filter that whatever filter I am looking for. Let's say if I want to go to this change request table and now I want to a new change only I want to get that. So in the new change I have 22 change. I'll copy query and go back to my postman and paste that and click send. Once I click the send, I am getting this, this is the response. These are the response which is returning me that 22 record. Okay. Now this endpoint I can send or I can give to my customer or the third party. They are asking to, they are asking or looking for that. Okay. So I will give them that this is the endpoint. You hit that. You provide your credentials and you will get that actual response. Okay, next thing is that let's say I don't want all this field, I just want to do the specific fields so that I can get some specific fields, not all the fields. How can we do that? So if I go back to the table API, so these are the things or these are the parameter we can pass. So very first thing it's saying that parameterized get method allow to get the data from a table. Table name is mandatory. Table name is a path parameter. So table name is a mandatory. So if you don't push that part, provide the table name, you can't get the data. So table name is very important and mandatory. And it's a path parameter, means it is coming or it is putting to as a path. Okay, slash something. It's a path. So we call the path parameter. Now next saying that Sysparam query equal to pass the query to get the data. So if I want to get certain data, I can pass that Sysparam query equal to whatever query I am expecting, that query I can pass. Now next thing what is saying that Sysparam limit to set the maximum count. Okay, so if I want to get some minimum 1 record or 2 record, or I am expecting 5 record only, I don't need the 22 or whole record, I only need the 5 record, I can set that. For that what I have to use that Sysparam limit. So let's say I will say the Sysparam limit, and here I'll put that 1. So if I put the 1, it will give me only 1 record. Let's send that. Now you can see this this response is little line number is very small, and then it's give me only 1 record. Now what we can say, next question is that we can use the Sysparam fields to get only definite fields. So let's say I don't want all these fields, I need the number and then short description. We can define that. For that what I have to do, I have to use that Sysparam this query, and here I need to define that which all fields I need. So let's say I'll say that number and then short description. So these are the fields I need. So I can just click the send. So it will return me only 2 fields. Now if I increase that the limit, let's say I am increasing the limit from 1 to 2. So it will give me the 2 record, and then 2 record will return 2 fields value. One is the number, another is the short description. So in this way we can use the Sysparam fields to get the fields. Now next parameter is saying that Sysparam display value. Okay. What is this Sysparam display value? I'll tell you that. So Sysparam display value is like that. If you say that, I'll say that CMDB CI. So this is the configuration item field, and it's a reference field. So if I click send, what it is doing, it is giving me the CMDB CI, and it is giving me what? It is giving me the sys or the CMDB CI value. It is not giving me the display value, right? It is giving me a CSID of that particular record, but I need to know that what is the display value. For that, what we can use, that we can use the Sysparam display value, this parameter, and if we use the true, it will give me that only display value. So let's send that. So now it is showing the display value is the Tomcat. So instead of CSID, it is now giving me that the name. So we have a one is the true, false is the actual, and then all. Okay, so if I am not putting this one and clicking send, it will give me that CSID. So this is give me the CSID, but if I am using that Sysparam true, it is give me that display value. Now either we pass this parameter or we can pass this false also, it will work similarly. So if you don't pass this parameter, it will work, or if you pass this parameter, it will go. But if you type that as all, it will return you the display value as well as the actual value. Okay, so you can see it is giving you the display value, it is giving you that CSID also. So this way, or this permutation combination, we can get multiple data from a particular table and from a specific fields, from a specific count. So I'll copy this link and I will send to the third-party customer that if you want to get my change or change request which is in right now new state, and if you want to get these three field only, number, state, short description, number, short description, CMDB/CI, use this API to get all these details. So I will copy this one and paste to my documentation. Now these all about our get records from a table. So in this way we can get multiple records. We can get multiple records. Okay, we have another method called retrieve a record. So previously you can see that retrieve records from a table, and this is a retrieve a record. Using this retrieve a record, you can only get one record only instead of multiple record. If you want to fetch specific record, you can use this API. Using this API, you can get specific one record. In this case, it will return only one record, table name and the SysID. Two are mandatory. This is the table name and this is the SysID. These two are mandatory. You have to, these two you have to have passed. So I'll just copy this one, okay, and then put into my Postman. And here instead of instance, I'll put my instance name and paste here. And let's say I will not put the last parameter called CSID. Okay, and then click the send. What will be happen? So it is saying that it's giving me failure. So I am getting that 400 response because it's a failure. For that this API, I have to have passed two parameter. One is the incident, another is the CSID. Okay, using this method you can basically retrieve a specific record, but in this case you have to provide the SysID. Remember that SysID is a mandatory field here and the name is the mandatory field. So for multiple record, or you can pass this here for get one record also. You can also fetch the one record, that's fine. But if you want to do a specific query, you can do this. You can do this API. Okay. So let's say I want to fetch this change request, table and this change number. I will copy this SysID and go back here. Instead of incident, I'll check that change request. And here, if I know that change request SysID, I'll pass and click that send. Once I click the send, it will return me all these specific field details, and the status is 200. It means that it got success. Okay, so this way I can what I can say, I can get or retrieve any of this specific table data. Now similarly, if we don't want all this field, we can definitely use this parameter called Sysparam Fields, and you can define that which fields we want. So I'll say that I need the number. So I'll just say the number, and then it will return me only the number. So previously some of the parameter will be work like that. It will be work for Sysparam field, Sysparam display value. It will work the sys limit, and the Sysparam query will not work because these two are for multiple records. But for single records, whatever um, query can be work or parameter can be work, these can be work. Now say, let's say someone asks you that give me a change change request, that I know the change request sys ID. Okay, in that case you can pass or give them this URL. Okay, so let's say the question is that, so in this requirement what we can do, I can give them this URL, so that once I give them this URL, they will be get all my that change request. So that's it for today. We talk about that how we can get the data using the table API, and how we can, I mean, if someone asks you to, they want to retrieve some data from your instance, you can simply give them that details or that the endpoint to them, so that they can retrieve the data using the table API. You don't need to build anything inside the ServiceNow. You just need to be create your custom URL based on their requirement, or you can provide them the documentation so that they can itself build that URL from themselves, and then they can get the data. And you just need to create the user account for them. It will help you to get the data from your instance. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. In the next session, we'll talk about that how we can create record, how we can modify the record, how we can delete the record, and gradually we'll increase. We'll go to the scripting part, and we'll do a lot of stuff further. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.